We have some new fear in the market with the US saying that there's a distinct possibility that Russia could invade the Ukraine during the Olympics. We continue to see signs of Russian escalation, including new forces arriving in the Ukraine border. As we've said before, we are familiar with the window of invasion that could begin at any time should Vladimir Putin decide to order it. They have ordered people to get out in the next 24 to 48 hours if you're an American citizen in the Ukraine. So we have a lot of fear. I want to talk about this, what it means for stocks, what it means for crypto, what I've been doing, and I'm going to try to keep this nice and brief for you. So with all this uncertainty, I do want to say there's a link underneath the video to BlockFi where they can give you 1.5% on all credit card transactions with their credit card, and they have a new promotion too where the first use you get $75 worth of cryptocurrency. So if you guys want to check that out, it starts today, that promotion. Definitely check that out underneath the video. They also have interest accounts, so if you haven't already signed up for that, I would suggest signing up for both. This is one of the only two credit cards I use personally. So the US is saying that there's a distinct possibility that Russia could start basically World War III. That's what Biden has said before. And we see the markets hitting really low numbers towards the end of the day. We saw a pretty big drop off in the stock market and also in cryptos too, with Bitcoin falling down about 2,000 points or so throughout the day. Many altcoins bleeding 10% over the last 24 hours. So what do I think about this? Well, this is mixing with the fact that we did have that Fed emergency meeting. I talked about that in the video this morning. If you haven't seen that, I'll put it on the end screen. But they called for an emergency meeting, which is causing a lot of people to be worried between this and those fears. And there's a lot of red because of it. We have inflation hitting record highs yesterday. So or maybe it was 2 days ago. No, it was yesterday. Things are moving very quickly, as you can tell. But overall, there's a lot of fear right now. And a lot of people are wondering, hey, should we hold off on buying? Should we sell? Some people are already selling. And I think there's one important thing to remember, at least when it comes to Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin, if there is some kind of world war, will be hit with every other asset, right? Everything's going to fall down. There's going to be mass panic. There's probably going to be a significant sell-off in cryptos and in stocks. But remember, one of the best uses of Bitcoin is the seizure resistance ability of it, right? It's not going to be seized by the government, and it's something that you can store and move easily in case there are times of war. Now, I still think that there's going to be a massive sell-off in it if that's the case, because people will really hold on to cash, but that's something to remember, right? That this would make a better case for it long term, just like the crazy inflation numbers make a better case for Bitcoin long term. Even though it is being hit hard because it's considered a risk asset, you have to remember that this strengthens the case, just like a world war would strengthen the case. Now, there is significant downside from here, right? If we go into a world war over the weekend or something, or let's just say Russia invades, there's also significant risk in case the Fed calls an emergency meeting on Monday and starts raising rates. Let's say they bump it up by 0.5%, or maybe even it's worse than that, right? There's significant downside. However, there's still significant upside. We see the fundamentals get stronger for crypto all the time. We still see companies bringing in a lot of money in the stock market. There have been really good earnings, and the companies that didn't have good earnings got slashed in price, like Facebook, PayPal. Those companies are significantly down. So you either have companies that are growing really quickly, or you have discounts on the ones that have been slowing their growth. So overall, there's a good amount of blood in the street. And remember, if you're looking at the best time to buy, it's not when things get better. It's when there's the most fear, uncertainty, and doubt typically. Now, that's also a little bit higher risk right now, right? If you went all into crypto or all into stocks, that would be trying to make a major bet on what's going to happen here short term. And a lot of us don't know what's going to happen. No one knows what's going to happen with these things, except some of the people that are pulling the strings like Putin and Powell, right? But I would say that dollar cost averaging is something that I'm focusing on doing. I'm trying to stay disciplined and not get too greedy, not get too fearful, not go all in and not pull all out either. I think I've set a plan. I've set enough money on the sidelines in some different places like BlockFi and like Anchor Protocol, and I still have a significant amount just in cash too. So if things really do hit the fan, I'll be able to move over and be able to buy the dip even more. But If you've already had that money set on the sidelines, I think it makes sense to dollar cost average. I've done that today. I bought pretty significantly, especially after we saw the fear of Russia coming out with stocks and with crypto. So I think it makes sense to buy when there's a lot of fear and uncertainty, but that's not for everyone. I know a lot of people are trying to hold on to extra cash, so if you don't have a cash pile stored up, probably makes sense to build some of that up. If you can do it from just your income, that's great. If you have to sell and you have a larger portfolio, I can't tell you what to do, but I have not sold anything really. I've just moved money around to the higher conviction plays recently, and I'm buying this dip. Now, of course, like I said, anything can happen from here. If we fall down, great, I'll buy more. It's a long-term play. It's a long-term asset for me, cryptocurrencies and stocks. I do think it's important too to remember the fact that while we are down a little bit here today, we were much further just a few days ago. I mean, we were at 33,000. We're at 42,000 now. 5 days ago, we were also at 42,000. So like I said, the fundamentals are getting stronger, and there has been a lot of bullish momentum since just a few weeks ago. So the fact is, people are still looking to allocate more. More institutions are coming in. The narrative doesn't change for Bitcoin specifically, which is that it's a long-term inflation hedge. It's a long-term asset that has a set supply that cannot be changed, and there are more and more people that are looking at getting into it, and it's a shield away from some of the inflation that we're seeing here today. Now, I want to hear your thoughts on this underneath the video. You can definitely check out that link down below to BlockFi to get that credit card, and I will see you in the next video.